What's up, guys? Thank y'all for checking back in. Today, I'm going to be sharing my coming out experience and how it's been so far, because it's nowhere near where I ultimately want it to be. I think it's safe to say that a lot of LGBT people start having feelings or thoughts around puberty. It wasn't a switch where I just one day woke up and realized that I like guys and I like girls. It was a process. I was raised in a Christian home. I went to a Black Baptist church for 10 years of my life. My whole life, I've been taught that homosexuality is a sin. And to a little boy who was just realizing these feelings that he had, that sucked to hear. Of course, I didn't tell anyone. Many Christians say that God sees all sins equally, and I believe that. But when I looked around, I didn't see that. There was such a stigma to this one sin. There was such shame and disgust around it, especially in the black community. In the world that I was in, it was the worst sin. So that was around middle school when I first started realizing this. And it became a weight on my shoulders that I carried for a long, long time. I hated this part of myself, and I would try to cover this up by being what I thought was the opposite of gay. This meant me trying to act hyper masculine. I sagged my pants. I fought any thing that I did or showed on the outside that showed any part of me being feminine or just not the perfect example of a manly man. Around 7th grade, I had a good group of friends that I made. Most of them I was friends with since elementary school. These guys were my best friends. One of these guys was actually going through the same thing that I was, and we found this out about each other, and he actually turned out to be my first gay experience. That actually lasted for about 4 years, but I ended up moving away summer after my 9th grade year, and we talk sometimes, but that's another story. So anyway, I continued to hide this part of myself that I hated. When I moved, I lost all my friends. I felt like I was starting over in life. That's when shit hit the fan. I had nobody to talk to. I didn't even want to talk to anybody. I went into a deep depression. I would cut myself. I tried to commit suicide twice. And it was all around the worst time of my life. The move and losing my friends had obviously a big part to do with it. But at the core of it, the biggest thing was I didn't like who I was. I hated who I was. And the older I got, the more I realized that I couldn't run away from it. And it just caused me to hate myself even more. I did a lot of praying, and it took a long time for me to finally accept that, yeah, okay, I like guys too. It was then that I finally stopped seeing this part of myself as part of me that's broken or part of me that needs to be fixed. I still wasn't out at all. Sometime in my junior year, I texted one of my friends and I said, hey, I gotta tell you something. And she said, what? And I said, I'm bi. She didn't reply for about 10 minutes. That was the longest 10 minutes of my life. But she replied and she said, that's cool, I don't care. You're still my best friend anyway. I was just so thankful that she didn't stop talking to me, because I thought that that was the sort of thing that would happen if I told someone. After that, I told my brother. He's been my best friend growing up So this was a big deal. I told him, he said the same thing. It was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders that needed to be lifted off. I told a few other of my friends at school, some of the really close ones that I knew wouldn't tell anybody, because I wasn't ready to be out yet. But I did need to tell some people. All of high school I wasn't out, but I did tell a few of my best friends that I knew. I was a lot happier now because it was something that I finally accepted and was growing to love about myself. My senior year, I got really friendly with this girl in my choir class. I went over to her house, we were listening to Pentatonics, and she said something like, "Man, I really love Mitch." And if you guys don't know, Mitch is the guy with the crazy high voice, and it's awesome. And she said the fact that he's gay just makes him that much cooler. And it was then that I just decided to tell her. She had the best reaction ever. She said, "Really? Me too." We dated after that for a while. We actually broke up on my last day of school, but it was a learning experience. Sometime early in my senior year, I told my grandma. She didn't care. She said she loved me even more for telling the truth. Senior year was good. It was the happiest school year in my life. I didn't need to tell everybody to act like myself, but if they asked, I'd just tell them. So I had told a good number of people, but I hadn't told anyone in my family yet, other than my brother and my grandma. I had thought about telling my parents before, but with them being really religious, and I'd heard the way that they had talked about LGBT anything before. They looked down on it, and they would be less than happy to find out that one of their sons wasn't straight. I wanted to do it, but I was scared shitless about what their reaction would be. Yesterday was June 13th. Yesterday was my 18th birthday. It was also the day that I caught wind of the shooting in Orlando. All those people killed simply for who they love. These people's lives were ended for no good reason. And here I was, scared to tell my parents something because it would be a little uncomfortable. So my family went out to dinner, and after dinner, I said to my mom, "Can we go outside? Let's walk around for a minute." So we were walking, and I said, "Mom, there's something I gotta tell you." And she said, "What is it?" Now, I don't know what it was. Maybe I got a little bravery because my heart goes out to those people who died for no reason. Maybe I just grew some balls. I said, "I think you know what I'm gonna say." She didn't say anything. And then I said, "Well, I like guys and I like girls." She said that she loves me, but at the same time, she said that I'm choosing a path of sin. Anyone who's LGBT is just confused, and that there's no such thing as being gay or bisexual. She basically said that who I am isn't valid. That sucked to hear from someone who called me her inspiration when I was a baby. She didn't hug me, she just acted kind of cold. I asked her to let me tell my dad myself when I'm ready, and she said okay. And even though it sucked to hear her say that, later that night, I was just thinking about what happened that day. I just said to myself, I came out to my mom on my birthday. This was something that I'd given thought to for years. It was just such a weight lifted off my shoulders. It felt amazing. Today, she basically told me that I need to tell my dad soon, or else she's gonna do it. I guess she doesn't want to keep a secret from him, and I understand that, but so great. Now I gotta figure out a way to tell him. I'm not gonna say that my dad is homophobic, but he is definitely on the line there. Whenever we watch the news, he's always talking about those gays and how they're such a perversion of nature, stuff like that. So I have to figure out a way to come out to him. There's still a lot of people that I need to tell, my extended family, my best friends from Texas that I still text all the time, most of my friends from high school. So it is a giant process, and I'm nowhere near finished with it. But this past year, I have been able to be the most genuine, happy, and free version of myself that I've ever been. I don't have to worry about hiding in the closet anymore from most of the people that matter. It's definitely a freeing feeling. I'm not telling people who aren't ready to come out, but I will say this. Think about all that effort you put into this persona that you put out to other people. What if you were to put all that energy into something else? Think of all the cool things you could create. You just gotta jump outside of your comfort zone and be brave. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all later.
I'm having a good time, I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of